So in the three major world religions of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, there is a figure that all of them are looking for called the Messiah. Many people believe that the Jesus of 2,000 years ago was the Messiah. But the only way that he could be the Messiah is if he fulfilled the functions and the duties of the Messiah. The Messiah was to establish justice in the earth. And the Messiah is one anointed to end the rule of Satan. But if the world is more unjust and 100 times more wicked 2,000 years later after the Jesus of old, then perhaps Jesus was a good man, but the title of Messiah was incorrectly and prematurely given to him. But if the enemy can make us to believe that the Jesus of 2,000 years ago was the Messiah, then it would cause us to be distracted and deceived when the actual Messiah showed up among us. So the Holy Quran, this scripture, clears it up for us. And in the chapter 23, verse 50, it says, "And we made the son of Mary and his mother a sign, and we gave them refuge on a lofty ground having meadows and springs." And what we want to highlight this morning is the key word or key phrase, a sign. So according to the scriptures, there are markers or things that the Messiah is supposed to do that will help us to identify that human being when he comes. Again, in the Holy Quran, chapter 3, it lays it all out. And in verse 46, it says, "And he will speak to the people when in the cradle and when of old age, and he will be one of the good ones." Well, according to the historians and scholars, they say that Jesus of 2,000 years ago died at 33 years old. Some say 36. So he spoke, but he could not have spoken when he was an old age, because the 30s, you're still fairly young. Does that make sense? The Quran goes on to say in verse 48, "And he will teach him the book and the wisdom and the Torah and the gospel." Well, the Jesus of 2,000 years ago didn't say anything about the Quran and its wisdom, because that's the book and the wisdom that the Messiah is supposed to teach out of. Then it says, but the New Testament, which contains the gospel in this scripture, also came after Jesus. How could he teach those two books if he predates both of those books? And then in verse 49 of the same chapter, halfway through that verse, it says, "And I inform you of what you should eat and what you should store in your houses. Surely there is a sign in this for you if you are believers." The Jesus of 2,000 years ago did not get into food. He did not give to us a dietary way of life or a law. So going back to that verse, Jesus and his mother Mary being a sign, yes, he did a marvelous work. Jesus, I'm talking about, of 2,000 years ago. And we absolutely thank Allah for him. But he was the precursor and the sign that would direct us to the actual Messiah that would come later down the line of time.